All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Jo, and welcome to my channel, which is Jumble.box shop on YouTube. And sometimes I'm on Instagram at Jumble.box on Instagram, and right now I'm just doing some paper crafts. Today we're going to be working on collaging envelopes for a paper holder or an ephemera holder that I'm making, and there's several different things for this project that I want to talk about first, and before we actually get into it. So I have to kind of hurry. So we're going to eventually make a little folder that looks like this. This is not fully decorated yet, but it's bound in this little booklet folder using a accordion spine, and it's just wrapped around like this. So we're going to make something similar to this. The first step is to actually make some really pretty envelopes that have collage on them and a little closure to strengthen them and to decorate them. So you can do this with anything, paints or paper, washi tape or stickers. You're going to see me do some. So I like to work the envelopes in stages. And as you can see, I've got one that's only barely started, the first part there, and then some are a little bit more advanced. Because we're using glue, I like to be able to do the book pages in the heavier paper, and then I press them under a book to make them nice and flat and let them dry, and then I come back and I put the washi tape and the stickers on. And we're going to be making a botanical theme today. I'll show you the first part of the folder, which is to measure your folder according to the size of the envelopes that you're using. And they're all going to fit in there. And this is the little accordion spine. And I'm hoping, let me stand up. Yeah, you can see it. So the accordion spine is actually going to be either glued or taped together. So it will be like this. And it's going to be put into the book like this. Okay, that makes your little hinges. And I'm going to be doing this I think in a second part of the video. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you know like what we're aiming for here when we do our collage work. This is Edith Holden book pages that have a little bit of flat Mod Podge on them, and we are going to be putting some more collage work on them. And then probably sewing them around too. Okay? Alright, but that's for the second part of the video. The first part is just doing some of these nice collage envelopes. So there's one other thing I want to show you really quickly, and I'll explain more in the other video, but there's two different ways of making your hinges for the envelopes. This is just using some masking tape, which might be the simplest way, and then you can just use some string to just quickly do a little binding to put them into your folder. I like to use window envelopes. I have quite a lot of these anyway, and I'll use them for pen pals, and I'll send decorated decorated letters and goodies in these little tiny envelopes, and I use them for different projects too. So they look really nice when they're full of different kinds of paper. The first thing that you have to do, though, if you're either going to put a collaged envelope in a junk journal or you're going to make an ephemera holder out of it, is you need to cover the adhesive here, because if there's a little bit of humidity, that adhesive will activate and it will stick your envelope together, and it'll be a really big pain getting it unstuck. So I use this for a little trial thing. That's why it has a little sticky part of some sticky tape right there. So we're going to cover that up today. Each one of these has the flap covered with something that looks nice. And then generally what I like to do is I like to make sure that this seam that bends, it's going to bend quite frequently. I like to make sure it's a little bit more strengthened. So I'll usually put some washi tape or some paper or something over it. This has got some, what is that, scrapbook paper, okay? So this is an old book page that had some printing on it that a pen pal sent me. So I used that. The first step for doing the collage envelopes is to get your paper down, and you need to glue it. The easiest glue to use is, of course, just a plain glue stick. And then press it overnight underneath the book so it's nice and flat and so it dries. Then the next step is to use anything that's sticky, like washi tape and stickers. So on this one, this is going to be, I'm going to use this really wide washi tape, which is really pretty. It has a botanical theme and it's got lots of yellow in it. So we're going to use yellow as a contrast in these Edith Holden book pages. We're going to sew our little folder with yellow thread and try to get some good yellows in there. So washi tape is sometimes a pain. It doesn't like to peel up evenly, and especially these wide ones. I don't have any tricks or anything for that. It's just annoying. I've got some pink there too. So I try not to cover the window envelope too much, but I like to make sure it's nice and flat and bonded there. And then don't cut your envelope. Washi tape's a little awkward. Let me just make sure that that's in. Yes, it's in focus. Good. I have to keep standing up to see that because I've got my camera at a slight tilt. So trim off your extra washi tape. Nice pieces like that you can maybe use for collage again, so I'll keep that. Some just have to go though. And then you could actually, especially if you've put a thicker paper on your envelope flaps, you could sew those envelope flaps if you wanted to. It just depends on how much, work you're going to put in. How much time and effort you want to put in for it. So the second thing that I think I should tell you about is your orientation for the envelopes. So when you're setting up your envelopes to go into the book pages, now I've got this oriented like that. You have to make sure that you've got the right kind of orientation. Usually I set them up as a pair, so that's a left side, and this one's now upside down. So usually what I would do is I would set them up as a pair and make sure that they're going to work that way, or if I want them to be the windows facing each other, what I might do with this one is just make them all go in the same direction, so so they'll be in the book like this. And we'll turn the pages over like that. Like that. And then like that. So I'm going to mark very gently T up at these spots just to keep me oriented correctly so I don't do something upside down. Did that on one or two and it's a little frustrating. So, alright, back to the collaging. This needs a little bit more here, so we have a little. So another thing that you might be aware of is that washi tape is not always super dependable to be sticky. It likes to peel up, so I always put a little bit of extra glue on that edge there, because I know that that's going to peel up, and that'll just be annoying. Okay. So it's made that joint a little stiff, so you can just take your folder and crease that again. And this page is going to need something. So what I forgot to tell you about is to have on hand a bunch of little scrap papers and pieces that you can kind of pick from to do some collaging with. So these are really pretty. I might cut some of those out. I've got some birds too. We even have a little fairy. Some magazine pieces, just some scrap paper. This is Tim Holtz tissue paper, and I really like his tissue paper with these old dictionary pages. I've already got one like that. These are not the best printing, but it might work, and I've got some music paper. I think I'm actually going to use the music paper. Oh, and we have another design of the Tim Holtz paper. So I'm going to use the music paper for this envelope. Let me just try to keep that sort of together. All right, so the top part is here. Several ways you can do it. If you like what these little holes look like, you could put them on. But I think what I'm going to do is, do you see my flowers? Every time I look at them, they're so pretty. I'm going to just rip that, and then if you want it to be irregular, you can actually do it by hand too, which I like better. I already have some little pages that are kind of irregularly ripped like that. They look good. I'm just trying to match up the size of this next rip with my envelope. Like that. And then I'll cut the sides so that they're pretty even. If I can see my little mark, I better use a pencil. So and that's just so that they don't rub in a funny way when we're opening and closing the little booklet. Where's my mark? Wow, can't even see it. Should have used my red pen, I guess. Try this again. Oh, there it is. Okay. Maybe even like that. Little scraps of paper I'll save. So this is going to go on here like that. I'm going to ink this edge before we do that though. And I've got in here. It'll just help it blend in with the look of the aged book pages that we're using. Okay. Try to get the edges in particular glued down. And sometimes you have to re-glue things, but that's okay. And then sometimes you can actually take Mod Podge and try that again. You can take Mod Podge and cover all your book pages like a flat Mod Podge. I chose to do that with the covers, not so much every collage, but if you have older stickers, you might need to do that because they like to come up. Sometimes you have to kind of re-glue them. So at this point, this little edge here is going to need something pretty on it. I like this one. Washi tapes are getting older. They get a little harder to use. It's a really pretty color. We're going to do this twice to make it a little bit thicker. Okay, so then you just trim off the edges. So if you're planning on, I'm using double-sided tape to put these into the accordion fold envelope, which is why I decorated this. If you're planning on using the masking tape method, don't decorate these yet, decorate them afterwards. So right now, this is looking really good, and I want to show you how to do the little button closure. So number one, it's not really a button. We're going to use a circle and we're going to make a tab. And I have some little goodies that we're going to use to do some collaging here. So you need a kind of a stiffer piece of paper and something that's botanical or something that will go with whatever theme you're using. I'm going to use this one. And you're just going to glue the decorative paper over this circle, like this. And then, what else can we do here? I have a few other little things I'd like to show you. So these tabs can be used in a couple of different ways. You can make a tab that will go on the end of the envelope and it'll stick on with a Velcro, or you can use a little paper fastener and put another little paper fastener somewhere on the envelope and make a little string closure. And that's actually what we're going to do here. So, and then you could also just use a little paper fastener as a little decorative thing with something else on there, or you can use a little button. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the harder one. We're going to do this paper fastener. So it's really handy if you have something like a needle or a push pin or an awl to work in. Am I working? Yes, I'm working on camera. Good. Keep checking. So I kind of want it right in the middle. Yeah. Sometimes I put them off center, but right in the middle will work for this. So these are paper fasteners I've had for a while, so they have a little point. Sometimes they don't. Nice and flat, so you can just thump it a few times so that's bent nice and flat. You could actually put that right through the envelope too. I'm not going to do that today because there's another thing I can do to show you, and that is how I reinforce them. So okay, so I have a little bit of cloth on some double-sided tape. Clear that away. Washi tape is so sticky. It's everywhere. This is just a double-sided tape. And I've been using these little scrappy bits just to act as little reinforcements so that the pins don't come out and they don't put a hole in the paper. So you just put something over it. You can use masking tape or washi tape too, but even just glue, a piece of paper over it again. But that is going to be a little reinforcement to this. So this is going to go, I'm going to actually just cover that pink rose. I'm going to put it right here, maybe right on the edge. And the best tape what I found to use is this Aleene's Crafting glue for this part. This is going to go on the edge. So I'm going to glue one part of this down. So there's probably different ways to make these closures. I'm kind of interested in learning a few more ways, so if you think of something, please drop it in the comments. Sometimes I reinforce these with a little tiny stapler. I'm not going to do that with this one. I'm going to let it glue. So Eileen's glue is really good. And there's one other thing I want to show you how to do. Let's make sure that that's centered. It's a really good craft glue. So I'm going to glue a little bit of, kind of spit out at me there. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on, come on glue. Okay, you only need a little dot of glue. Go ahead and press it on the paper. We're putting a Velcro tab on these for the closure. So when I went to Joann's, the only Velcro tabs they had were some like removable ones, and their glue is not as good as more permanent ones. So I want to make sure these are placed right, and I'm using that little bit of glue to help me get them placed so you don't really see the tab. Put the Velcro part on the bottom and the softer part up on the top. And that little bit of glue is just going to glue everything in place, and it'll keep it nice and firm. So that's the little, see, it's gonna, needs to dry a little bit. You can use a little paper clip to keep things together so that they will dry appropriately. Okay, so that's going to dry. It'll take a few hours, but then that'll be nice and firm. Another way of doing these is to put a string on the other side of your pin, put it right through the envelope, and have another little pin or button over here or over here, and you can just twine it around. So I might do one of those next. We'll see. Right now I'm kind of collaging. So after the paper is on and you've got these things here all set up, you can actually go ahead and put some other things on for some collage work. So this is a printable that someone made that I bought. There was a set of several different flowers. I kind of printed them so I could get them on these envelopes. So I'm going to put this one here because it's got these nice greens. And probably I want to cut a little bit of that off to make it just a bit smaller. Like that. So again, the glue stick works really well. Just try to get your little edges. So when you put glue on both sides of what you're gluing, you have that ability then to scooch things around a little bit if you need to. Sometimes if you put it only on the image that you're gluing down, you won't be able to move it very easily if you've got it in the wrong spot. So that's one of the reasons why I just did that. And then I'm just using a little bit of dye to kind of blend that white background so you don't see it as much. So I have that, and I have another little thing that's really fun to use for collage. And I especially like to do, playing cards, but envelopes are a close favorite too. Whoops, I have some stickers. Let me just show you what I've got. Different kinds of stickers and old seals. These are old seals. So I'm hoping to use some of these, and at the very bottom I have a botanical cigar label. I guess that's, yeah. So we're going to put this just like that. And same method, you put the glue, whoops, I bent it, that's okay, on both sides. And then you can make sure to move it around. So we don't want to put it upside down though, do we? No. So then if you have glue on your fingers, try not to put glue all over the image too. So at this point you can cut that off, or if you think it might look good, you can wrap it around. I'm going to wrap it. You'll see that little bit. That'll be kind of cute. So cigar labels, very fun. You can get them on eBay or maybe flea markets, or maybe even like people that you know might have a bunch. Who knows? But that's a fun thing to use for paper collage. A little bit of fancy sparkle there. Okay, so what else can I use? So let's see. I like that actually kind of how it is. I might not put anything more on it. But I do have, for instance, a rose. Oh, I'll put that rose up there. So, yeah. So these stickers are also like maybe 3 or 4 years old. And that was my timer to warn me that I'm almost out of time here. So I'm going to put that down like that. But these slightly older ones have a little bit more of a transparent paper, which I really like, and you can barely, tell it's there. So that's our first little envelope, and yep, it takes a little bit of time to do these, so that's why I kind of work in stages. I do a little bit and put them aside, do a little bit more, and then eventually they all get done. So thank you so much for joining me. I think I'm going to do one more video about how to do collage work on the envelopes, and then I'll do how to get them into the spine for my tutorial. So my name is Jo, and if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye now.